If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
All right, peace and love, Curry gang. Come on in. Make sure y'all smash that like button. This your host, JR Curry. Man, a lot of people might not know about this story right here. There's a woman by the name of Tia Hollis from the West Coast, from Los Angeles, who is actually the owner of Crip. I think she's the owner of Crip Inc. or the Crip trademark and the Bloods trademark. She also was the woman that bought Nipsey Hussle's trademark, the Marathon Continues. And I guess word got through the grapevine that Nipsey Hussle Marathon Continue brand was about to be extorted. So she bought the trademark to basically protect it and give it to the family. But recently she did a interview with Cam Capone explaining how that she bought the trademark to the Marathon Continue to basically protect it. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into the OG Shabazz, which you see on the screen now. OG from Philly, down with the money team, Floyd Mayweather's money team. He actually did an interview with her on his Instagram, Live, and she pretty much breaks down everything of how she had to protect Nipsey Hussle's the Marathon Continues brand. And she's from that world. She's from that whole gangster Crip world. You know what I mean? So we gonna definitely get into it, but let's hop into this clip real quick. But OG Shabazz reacting to her interview she did on Cam Capone's YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and get into it.
I did. I applied for the trademark. And what happened was when Nipsey died, they were trying to extort his estate in the streets, and it was being talked about, and I got wind of it. So, like I said, I'm not in the street, and I'm not, on the violent tip and that kind of. So I had to sit back, woosah, collect my thoughts, and figure, what are you going to do to save this boy's estate? What are you going to do? I had to do something about it. I heard them talking about, So I said, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trademark it, and I'll tie it up legitimately in the trademark office, and nobody can do nothing with the marathon. His Black Sam couldn't even do anything with the marathon because I tied it up. And although I did try to initially get in touch with his sister, I did send her a message through her DM, but they're mourning Nipsey's death. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really expect that she would call me back to talk about a message that I left in her DM, and she used to spend a lot of time at my house. She's friends with my youngest son. And so, yeah, I did. I trademarked it. They were trying to extort it. Big U wanted it, and Suge.
All right, so let's get into it. Damn, she said that Nipsey Hussle, the Marathon Continue, was great to get extorted by Big U and Suge Knight. Dang. So let's go ahead and jump into the interview. Can
you see me?
All right, so this is Tia Hollis on the brother Shabazz OG on Instagram. Y'all can follow him over there. But let's go ahead and get into this interview that he did with her. She basically broke down everything and the steps she, took to protect Nipsey Hussle's brand. So let's get into it.
Me?
Yes, I see you and hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we good. We good money. We here now.
I'm ready.
It's all love. How you doing today?
I'm good, Baz. How you doing?
I can't complain. You on the west side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, for those who don't know, this is Miss Tia Hollis, the LA powerhouse. And about a week and a half ago or so, I put up the post that was circulating the internet. And I had actually heard about this before, but it made its rounds on the internet about you being the person who not only owns the Crip LLC, but you also trademarked the Marathon Continues,
Right.
which was Nipsey Hussle's tagline and company, and it stirred up a lot of emotion in people, controversy, different perspectives, different opinions, so on and so forth. And when I saw it, I thought it was an interesting conversation. So I was like, well, it seems to be that a lot of people are conflicted. Some, speaking as if they really know. Some people are doubtful. Some people are like, well, it could have been this, it could have been that. So when it gets like that, any chance I get to have a conversation that concerns anybody, no matter who it may be, if I get a chance to get my hands on them and get them on this live and let them speak for themselves, I'm all about that. And that's what I wanted to do with you. So I'm glad we was able to connect, for you to be able to come on and not only speak about that, but just you got so many other things going on, so many moving parts to you and your company and your brand. But for starters, the whole marathon continues.
Right.
Why did you trademark it? What was the inspiration and the motivation behind you saying, you know what, I know this is Nipsey's, this is not mine, I have nothing, this is not my business, but I'm going to trademark it. For those who don't understand why you did that, can you please give the intel?
It was to save Nipsey's brand.
You said it was to save it?
Right, to keep it from being extorted. Turn the lights off, please. Yeah, it was to take it actually off the market from anybody's ability to do whatever else they wanted to do with it besides what Nipsey had planned to do with it. Although he didn't have it trademarked, it was clear, the direction that he was headed in with the brand. And I don't think that the fact that he hadn't trademarked it, left it wide open for others to do what they wanted to do with it, that it was a free for all, and that's not what it was.
So you say you trademarked it to keep someone else from taking it, from extorting it. Did you have a personal relationship with Nip? Like, were y'all affiliated?
No, Nip and I weren't affiliated. I met him, on a couple of occasions. The rapport that was established came through my son. They had a working relationship.
Nipsey and your son?
Nipsey and my son did at a point, yeah.
Okay.
When Nip first started out in the business, just like any other you get off into, there might not be budget for things that's needed, the extra things. In his case, it was a videographer, and my son was just starting out in his business as well, and he established a portfolio, and he didn't have content to, build off of, and so they got together, and they exchanged that thing. He allowed him to film him at the House of Blues, and he gained content.
Okay, so that's how their relationship started.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most people feel like when you trademark something, obviously it's yours. It's like you said, to protect. Now, once you trademarked it, did it become an issue with his family or his estate? Because I read a little bit online, so I know that it turned into, it got legal.
It did. It got legal. It got legal from the standpoint stance that they had no way, I have no idea why though, to contact me, obviously, so that we could discuss it. I did leave sister a message in her, and I sent that over to you as well, and we shared that.
Yeah, I
I
saw
did.
that.
Yeah, I sent Sam a DM, and I let her
And
know.
before you say Sam, let me be clear, y'all. Sam and Black Sam are two different people. Black Sam is Nipsey's brother. Sam is Nipsey's sister.
Right.
So when she says she spoke to Sam, I don't want y'all to be confused. She's not talking about Black Sam, the brother. He has a sister named Sam, and that's who you had the exchange was. I mean, had the exchange with. Excuse me.
Right, and you saw in our thread in the DM that Sam and I had spoken previously to the trademark situation, and once that did happen, I contacted her again and let her know that, I'd like for you to get in touch with me regarding this, and I sent her a link over to the trademark, and if you see on there, it was read. She did read it. And but she never got back to me after that, and that's understandable because they were mourning, her brother's death.
Right.
And I don't think that they had too much, where they weren't thinking about the trademark or thinking about the brand at the time, and it was okay because I had it for safe keeps for them.
So, was it a situation where instead of contacting you for you to tell them what your intentions was with the trademark, instead of doing that, it went legal that way, and that's how it ended up legal because they never spoke to you before they went went the legal route?
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. So, had she contacted you back, you would have told her why you trademarked it. You would have told her the same information you said in the interview, the information that you heard that it was going to be extorted. And from that conversation, you knew that it hadn't been trademarked, so you did it.
Right. Had she taken the time to even go over, the message thoroughly in her DM and to preview the link that I sent to her in her DM, it could have been at that moment. I would let her know, whenever you guys are ready for this, it's there for you, for me to sign it over whenever. In a situation like that, that's not always priority, but because I wasn't affected the same way or in the capacity that they were affected by Nip's death and the grieving part of it, I was able to maintain my business perspective, and that's how I approached the situation with his trademark, the business perspective. So because I'm not in their shoes or grieving the way that they were, it put me in a position to think, especially after what I had heard about, the plans to do with his a trademark, and I felt that was the best thing for me to do, not maybe wait later on to even give the family, hey, you guys, I had to make a move, and I needed to move expeditiously. That's what I did. I didn't get anything out of trademarking, and other than saving his legacy, we never asked for any money in exchange or any of those things.
Oh, so you never got so you didn't trademark it, hold it, and then, I got it, I'll sell it to, because people do that. People do that to people. People do that to, if they see your brand is popping, they'll go and see if your brand has a website or .com or is trademarked, and then they'll go and trademark it, own it, and then sell it back to you.
Yeah, no, those weren't my intentions at all. As soon as I was contacted, actually I've been contacted by two separate attorneys of the estate. The initial attorney, after doing a stringent vetting process, didn't seem like he was on the up and up, not to us once we got information that we got back on him. And so when he said he was, coming and representing the family, and he wanted, we said to him, we're not going to deal with you. And to this day, I can't tell you if it was actually from his family, that the first attorney. There was one attorney, and this guy from the Cochran firm, And once we did the vetting for this guy, it seemed that he had actually been a representative of Nipsey State, really on behalf of Black Sam and the family. And so we moved forward in dealing with this gentleman.
Second attorney.
Yeah, the second attorney. Oh yeah, we dealt with him after he was vetted, and he did appear to be the one handling the estate. And so through him is how we returned, well, not returned, is how we managed to hand over the estate, the marathon trademark to Nipsey's estate into safe hands.
Now, to me, that sounds like something solid to do.
Well, it's a matter of opinion, you know what I mean? And a lot of people I see on this on the internet thing and social media are obviously not, majority are not people who are in business. So whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, it was the business thing to do at the time, and in the long run was to save Nipsey's brand and his legacy. And that's what I did. You know, people are gonna have opinions and views about it, and have spoken about it, and have made claims as to, you know, why we trademarked the marathon. And until I spoke about it just recently, I don't see how anybody could have even came to a conclusion. So, you know, in the world of social media, you know, it's made up of a bunch of, you know, whatever people want to be and that kind of thing. And as a matter of fact, at that time, I spoke to my oldest son about it. And I remember I was laying on the bed and he was at my house, and I said to him, I said, hey, you know, I was someplace last night and I heard a conversation and it had to do with Nipsey's brand. And he said, yeah. I said, yeah. And I checked the website, and I said, as a matter of fact, you know, it's not even trademarked. So my said, no, Ma, that's not true. The marathon, Nipsey owns that. I said, I understand that. And so I showed him. I said, look, son, I said, there's no trademark here. And I had a conversation, you know, last night, we ear hustling on some people talking about, you know, what they wanted to do with the marathon. And it wasn't my place to speak on it, so I didn't. And so when I said that to my son, I said, you know what, we got to save this. And so he said, Ma, what are you going to do? I said, I could trademark it. Yeah. What you going to trademark it? I said, well, if we trademark, and then you know what? A trademark, that was maybe about 5 years ago. And I think it might have been $225, $250, no more, right? And I said to my son, I said, but you know what? I said, if I trademark this now, not next week, I might be going into my rent money, son. So I don't know about, you know what I mean? And he said to me, he said, Mom, if it means that much to you to do what you need to do for Nipsey, rent later and trademark his brand. That's what happened. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and I didn't get it on the back end and charge them. I didn't ask them for a dime. The only thing I needed to know before actually giving the brand to the estate is that it was to his family, is to where it was going, not the cousins, no one. It needed to go to his estate, and that's exactly where it went. And we got that right, and the case was closed and it was over. But even before the situation was settled, you know, because of the uproar that people were, you know, we made a apology to the estate and to Lauren London, and as far as we could speak about it at the time, you know, we let them know that, hey, you know, we apologize that this is going on, but please believe us, we have no intentions on taking you all to court or it's not that kind of situation. But, you know, news and you know, things that travel and bullshit becomes a thing and starts to trend, and, you know, it picked up something, but it still never got to the point where, until I was ready to speak about it, it never got to the point for me to come out to explain the situation, because one, it was kind of personal. I had experienced something like what Lauren London had experienced with Nipsey's death as a young person, a young girl, so I could understand the pain that Lauren felt. So, by no means would I have taken a woman through that thing to take her estate, because that's what they have now. So, had we kept it, that's what it would have been doing. And, that's not my get down. That wasn't my intentions or my plans. So they have it now and they're fine. And so when you hear news and you hear things in the social media about, what they got and how this happened, it's because we saved the marathon. And that's how they were able to have a and carry on,
Was a conversation ever had after the fact, like, thank you, or, any type of acknowledgement? Not that you were looking for it, but did it happen?
It happened between Black Sam and I.
Okay, then that's all that matters. Like somebody asked, living fulfill Fleek. She already answered. She already addressed that. She did not make any money.
Not any money. No, I never made any money off of it. I didn't ask the attorney or the estate or anybody for any money in exchange for it. There were never any products made from it. It didn't belong to us. And we didn't trademark it for us. We trademarked it to keep it safe from the extortion that was going on. And I got a couple of threats, you know what I'm talking about? And through the grapevine and kind of thing. But I don't really rock easily, you know what I'm saying? And if I commit to doing it, that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'll go for broke, and I'm gonna stand on business. And when I decided that I was gonna be late on my rent money and trademark the marathon that ain't fed me not one day, then I was gonna go all the way with it. And that's just because I have integrity, and it's just some things, you believe in, and you want to be ride or die, but you have to pick and choose, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like this was one of those things, I done got down for less than this, So yeah, I felt like it was my duty, and it was, it's no gang politics behind this or anything like that, because that's not my business what his neck of the woods got going on or anything like that. But my thing was to let the marathon continue, period, not by means to benefit me, but to give it to them and give it to his family. And he, like I said, they didn't trademark it, but didn't mean it didn't belong to them.
The reason, for somebody asked a little while ago, the reason for this whole conversation was basically because of how the internet was divided. Like I said, we're cut from the same material, if you will. And it could be my dreaminess for wanting better for our people and wanting everybody to get along. That just might be my fantasy, because I don't like to see how we be divided on social media, right? What's up, Nashawn? I don't like to see our people disrespecting each other over opinions and not facts. I don't like to see us talking down and disrespectfully to or about people in the comments with things that we don't have real knowledge of. So a lot of times you're only left with your opinion. A lot of times you're only left with your discernment and your assessment. But when it came to this topic, and it was about Nipsey's trademark, and knowing how his passing away hurt LA, hurt hip hop culture, hurt his fans, to see that conversation and somebody that said, like somebody yourself being somebody doing something that they was doing from a genuine place, it got misconstrued by so many other people to be looked at something that wasn't genuine. So I just felt that if we could make it happen, why not get sis on here and let her speak on her own behalf? I know you did another podcast, but I didn't know how much information you divulged in that or on that platform. So if I had a chance to bring you here and say, hey, this is who she is, this is what that was about, and now y'all can hear it from her mouth. So for those that are asking, that's why I brought her to speak on her own behalf, because a lot of people don't get to do this. Not that you're defending yourself so much, but sometimes it's okay for people to really get the real story, because too often on social media, you don't. You left with what you believe, you're left with what you think, you left with what you know what was said, and then people tend to go with what reigned as popular. But I wanted you to get a chance to speak for yourself, and you did. So, you know, for the record, she let it be known that she had no intentions on trademarking it and selling it to the family, hijacking it, holding it. No, she heard a conversation that was leading towards that, and she beat them to the punch and held it until the legalities took place, and she gave it to the family, and y'all moved on.
That's right. And nobody lost, nobody lost anything. It didn't cost anything, or didn't, and everything turned out all right. And
it cost you a little bit of cost you a little bit of rent money though.
I was able to do it on the back end.
Cost you a little bit of rent money, but I mean, it's just a cool thing to do, because like I said, we see people do this all the time. People do this to people. People will go and trademark your thing, and they see you pop it, and they be like, nah, you can have it, but I'm gonna sell it to you.
Yes.
And you could have done that, but you didn't, because that was never your intention from the beginning. You know, you didn't have a relationship with him, but your son did, so indirectly you did. You know what I mean? Because that's your child had a relationship with him and his sister. So what's up, Dao? Assalamualaikum. But let me ask you this, Tia, because to even be in those realms, you know, you LA native, right?
Yes.
You grew up gang affiliated.
Yes. I became gang affiliated.
I mean, from what I understand, sometimes they born right into it. But that wasn't, huh?
You can say that in some instances. I kind of grew into that gang culture.
And how was that? Without going too far into what you wouldn't want to go into.
Well, it's kind of like I said before. The situation happens when your parents or your grandparents, or wherever that home is bought, or wherever that rent is paid, that mortgage is paid, that's more than likely the neighborhood that you're gonna be from. I mean, nobody grows up and says, I'm gonna be this. At 5 years old, you don't even know what that is, and so that's just the area that you live in, and so happens to be that's where you come from, and it's kind of set like that.
So it's because you really have to understand that, like a lot of places around the world, they just picked up, grabbed the flag, threw it in their pocket. I'm Blood, I'm Crip, I'm GD, I'm Folk, I'm this, I'm rolling, I'm this. But you guys, with real LA gang culture, it's like you just said, it's more about where you were born, where you were brought up, and what area you were raised in. Mm-hmm. So there really was, and correct me if I'm wrong, there really was no way around it, so to speak, correct?
No. No, to be honest with you, there's really no way around it, because it's so embedded in the culture. It's just in the thread of LA culture, and it is just what it is. And the only way out is to get out. Really, the only way out, and especially for our young men here, that's the only way you're going. Let me tell you something. Gang culture was so frightening. I mean, I'd rather for my sons, I have two, I'd rather for my sons to have chosen anything in the world than to have been gang members. I mean, so to the point that, life is just ups and downs. So sometimes, I might live here, sometimes I might, but there were times in my life, because money wasn't always there for me, that I've stolen. No, you're gonna laugh, because that's how you're a comedian. I've stolen. Okay. I've stolen houses to keep my kids out of that shit. No, I didn't pick the house up and take it someplace and steal it, Baz. That's not what happened. No. And I mean, it's many years ago this happened, but at that point, it's whatever I had to do to save my kids.
Hold on. I need you to do me a favor.
What?
Just one time. Please explain to these people and to me, how do you steal a house?
And when you go in and you claim it, it's called it's called squatting, but just take possession of it. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And it was never, my thing was never to say, because I wanted to live in this certain type of house or anything like that. But of course, if I, was stealing houses, I wasn't stealing them in South Central where the gangs are. I was in Beverly Hills and, places like that where the gangs weren't, to keep my son safe. And
so that was your method. Salam alaikum. What's going on, Daisy? You were trying to get away from the neighborhood for the sake of your boys.
Yeah. On that note, I'm just letting you know the extent at certain times of their lives that I would go through to make sure they weren't, in South Central LA.
I mean, hey, I think they call that doing what you got to do at that time in life.
Well, when it comes to protecting your family and feeding them, I don't understand. There are no rules and regulations. I mean, that was my mindset at the time. And of course, I'm a much different thinker than I was, at the time that I was, in the streets, than I am now. So now it's a completely different. I have a completely different life and a completely different lifestyle.
No, and bravo to that, because again, I know the seriousness of coming up in that culture. A lot of people don't make it out, just like anywhere else, but it's like LA is a little different because, like you said, if you're born in this neighborhood and that color, then that's what you rep, and that's what that is. And there's no way around it unless you remove yourself geographically, especially.
And you have story. Yeah, you have to remove yourself. Absolutely. That's mandatory if you want a fair crack at it. Mm-hmm.
So, without going, too deep back into your past, it's understood you're an LA native. It's understood you grew up in gang culture. Obviously you're not gang. Now let me ask you this, because obviously you're not gang banging, but once a Crip, always a Crip.
Well, no, because they have some that are bloods, or some bloods.
No, I mean for you. Like, is that your reality? Like, that's because that's what you were raised in.
Once a gang member, I mean, that's what you're never going to not ever or undo being a gang member. It's just like being a virgin. I could practice abstinence from here till I'm not breathing anymore, but I'll never be a virgin. You know what I mean?
Right. All that I'm a born again virgin stuff, that's just something to make them feel good about themselves when they say that.
Right. So yeah, that the part of the gang and the active part of it and being involved, in the destructive manner, I'm no longer a part of. Now, as far as gang intervention and that kind of thing, I'm very much.
But yeah, but that's what I meant when I say once a Crip, always a Crip. I didn't mean actively. It's like I was a Crip when I was gang banging. I'm no longer gang banging, but this is where I was born. This is the legacy. This is the culture that I was born into, and I'm gonna always be this because that's my root. However, I'm forever a Crip, but I'm no longer gang banging. That's what I was talking about, and then going on to make a difference, in other facets of life. That's what I mean.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.